Good afternoon, everyone. So today I'll continue with the leftover part of the conditional statement we discussed in one of the series, C programming series. So in the last series, we have discussed about the uh, types of the conditional statement, and there we discussed about a if-else statements and the if-else ladder and many other things. So I just want to have a quick recap again about the types of conditional statements. So if statements and the switch statements, and then it further are divided into the multiple conditional statements, the way the program is written. So the underlying concept is the if statement, but it can be have the alternative paths in the code. So if, else, or it can have if, else if, right? Or it can also have if, and then if, within if, again if, and then else part of that, and then else for the outer part. So these are the ways where we can have the program, right? This is how we learned in the last lecture. Today we'll talk about the switch statement, but prior to that, I think there was some portion which I would like to again empathize on, which is related to the nested or you would say the if and else if statements, conditional statements. So here you need to have a test expression in the if, means the evaluation of which will come as a boolean, right? And then if that is true, this block will get executed, and if that condition is not, if it is equal to true, or in C you can say is equal to 1, right? Then this block will get executed, and if it is not, then this block get executed, but again a new test expression is there so that it can enter into the into this block. And let's suppose this expression is also false. If it is true, then it is get executed, but if it is false, then definitely this statement will get executed. So this is how the if, else, and else if ladder works, right? Now we have a flow diagram of this. We can quickly cover that, then we can move to the switch statement. So again, the test expression based on true and false condition. If it is true, then statement block 1 gets executed, and then the statement X out of that block get executed. But if it is false, then again this test expression get evaluated, and based on that, false or true, the respective statements get executed, and then finally after the completion of all these blocks, the final statements get executed. So this is how the same explanation in this flow diagram. Now let's move in a program. So you might not able to see that in the window, but the program is to check whether a number is positive, negative, or 0, right? Whether a number is positive, negative, or 0. This is the program, right? And now let's see that how the if else statement, if else if statement is helping us out to get to write these sort of programs. So here you can see that this is the main function. In C, we are getting input from the user. So we prompted the user enter a number, and then we scanned a number on a variable called n. This is the statement I'm talking about. Now, if the value of the entered number by the user is greater than 0, we are checking it through if, right? If this is greater than 0, then we have to print the number as positive. So we want to check whether the number is positive, negative, or 0. So if it is greater than 0, it is positive. Else if it is less than 0, it is negative, right? So the second condition will get executed. So let's suppose the user put 2. So 2 is greater than 0. This will be printed. Let's suppose the user input -2, right? So it get executed and this will be executed. But let's suppose that user input 0. So this is not greater than 0. This is not less than 0. It is actually 0. So the else part will get executed, right? So this is how the program will get executed for. This is a very simple program, but just want to make you understand that if in a program, if there is a need of having multiple conditional statements, then how to arrange those statements so that you get the desired output from the program. So let's move further on. So here we have a quick output of for the number which is being entered by the user. It is 25. So the number is positive. Correct. Switch statement. The next conditional statement. So earlier in the first slide, I talked about the two conditional statements are majorly used in C. Apart from the further bifurcation of the if statement, the if and the switch. Now the switch statement is multi-way decision making statement, means based on certain conditions, you can execute the branch of the code which is desired to be executed, right? Based on the condition, get evaluated, and if it is falling on the lines of that condition and matching with the expression, then we will see that what I'm trying to bring here. The thing is, it is this is for the decision making statement, or you can say that let's suppose you want to create a program where you have to take the decision based on the choices, right? So you are taking choices from the user, and based on the choice given by the user, you can evaluate the expressions in the code, right? So it is actually comparing the expression to get evaluated on some value, for which you have written the switch statements, right? And it checks for the equality. That's the primer, important thing to remember here. So in the if statement, you can have not necessarily to have the equality conditions, right? So you can have less than, greater than, and all these expressions. But in switch, you are checking for the equality. If whether that the expression which gets evaluated is equal to that or not, then the switch statement helping you out to branch your code in this way. Now let's have a quick look of how the syntax of this switch statement looks like. So here you can see that the expression which would be checked for the equality, and the outcome of that expression would be either of these values, right? And there is a default block of statement also, which it's a not a mandatory mandatory part of this switch syntax. But if you are explaining the switch conditional statement, then it is good to include this also, because for you can say a better code readability, as well as writing the code for the better prospect, you have to write the switch syntax like this, right? And even in code, you should provide the default condition. If let's suppose the expression which gets evaluated not matching with any of the case value, in this, right? So here this expression would get evaluated either on these values, either of any of these values, or the default will get executed. Now, if it is evaluated as value 1, then this piece of code will get executed here, this statement. This is very important, but it is a breaking condition, means after the evaluation of the expression and it is matching with the value, it can match with the value 1, match with the value 2, match with the value 3. If it is matching with the value 2, it will jump to this one, and then this statement get executed. But this break statement is very much important, because if you do not write this break statement, then the expression after that will also get executed. So you can get the erroneous results from the program, right? So this is about the switch statement, and then the statements outside of this block get executed, correct? Once you have all the code flow within the switch statement are executed, right? Now, what are the characteristics of the switch statement? These are the characteristics of the switch statement, right? So we can navigate, one by one. Case values can be integral, int or char. For C, this is mandatory. For other languages, they work on strings also. They work on the few expressions, direct expressions evaluation on the case values. But for C, it should be either a int or a char value. Case value can't be float. It cannot be a float value, right? Or a string. Like in case of C, it should not be a string. Default can be placed anywhere inside the switch. It's not necessarily that the way we have seen the syntax should be written like that. The default can be written upwards, but for the better code readability, is always good to write the default statement at the end, right? So this is the third one. Break is not mandatory inside the switch. Sometimes in our code, we purposefully need the break statement should get excluded from the switch case statement, from the case, right? So for this is the example of the use case where you may have 3-4 conditions for which the same piece of code needs to get executed. Then there is no point of writing break in every case. So for every case, the same statement needs to get executed. But for other set of cases, a different code block needs to get executed. In such scenarios, you can exclude the break statement, right? So it's not mandatory. No limitation on number of cases. There is no limitations. You can have n number of cases, but be wise on writing this, because code readability is also a very important factor when you are writing the code, right? So means it is equally important. And then case values can be expression consisting of constants only. So again, it's a very self-explanatory statement where after evaluation of the expression, those constants, you will get that value, and then if the expression is matching with the value, case value, then that piece of code get executed. So this line is talking about that, right? Now, as we have seen that the way we have just seen that how switch statement works. So we can also say that the similar thing can be achieved through if else. Yes, of course it can be achieved through if else, but the readability of the code and the modular design of the code will not look good when you have lot of conditions on which a different set of code needs to get executed. So there is a need of the switch statement. So we can go one by one for the differences. It contains multiple expressions with multiple choices. It contains single expressions for multiple choices. Means you have an expression, and then after the evaluation of that expression, you have multiple choices of code to get executed. But in this case, it contains multiple expressions within that if block to get executed, right? So within that if brackets, you can have multiple expressions, right? So this is the difference. It tests for all relational logical operators. It test only for equality. As I just mentioned, that for every relational operators, like A is less than B and A is greater than B, A is greater than equal to C, like that. Means for every relational logical operator, it works, and it's only works for the equality, right? Correct. It evaluates to the integer, character, pointer, or floating point type. Means any data type, including integer, character, pointer, or floating point data type. It can evaluate the expression, but it evaluates only for the integer or for the character, right? So the expression output should be either integer or a character, right? Editing is difficult in nested if and else. So if you have very complex code written in if and else, so there is a lot of if else ladder there in the code, so it is difficult to manage that code. Maintainability is tough. Editing, if you try to edit that code, it can break breaking change for the existing functionality. But in switch statement, you can directly jump to the piece of code where the fix needs to get applied, right? So easy editing in switch. So these are the differences, right? Now let's move on. So here again, the slide is not placed correctly. I'll ask my team to place the slide the correct in the correct direction. But what is there in this program? We have to write a program to simulate calculator, right? Right. So if you think about this program, so you have to simulate calculator using switch case. That means in calculator you need to give choice to the user what kind of operation you want to perform. So you can give choice to the user that whether you want to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on, division, etc. Right? So these kind of choices you have to give to the user, and based on the choice which is being selected by the user, you can execute your code flow accordingly, right? And that's the purpose. So the choice-based, programs. If you want to write choice-based programs, so you must consider the switch statement in that case, right? And so let me move back. So if you see this program, what exactly this program is doing? This program is actually taking input from the user. First of all, it is taking the operand from the user in which you want to perform the operations, right? So if you want to add two numbers, a plus b, so these are operands and this is operator, right? For calculator, you are working for the operators, means plus, minus, division, and so on, right? Multiplication, everything you want to operate on the operand. So this program is taking the input from the user, right, as operand A and B, and then asking to user to enter your choice of operation. So enter operator means what you want to perform, plus minus what you want, right? The moment it gets, so look at this, this is char. So I just told that in switch statement in C works on int or char, right? So this expression should either be int, evaluated as int, or char. So here it is evaluated as a char, means we are taking input from the user, and then when this is char, it is matched with the choice of the user. So let's suppose the user has given the operator like plus, right? So plus comes here, this is plus, and then plus will be matched to this. And if it is matching, then this piece of code get executed, rest other will not get executed, since it's here it is a break statement. Got it? So for an example, now the user wants to have multiplication. So again, as an operator, user will input this multiplication. It will be stored in this OP, this operation variable, and this operation variable we are using here in the switch statement. This multiplication will go there, right? And this multiplication will be matched with this. So the expression is matching with this case value. This expression value, multiplication is matching with this case value. So the multiplication code gets executed, rest other code will not get executed. This is how it is, this switch statement works, right? And that is how we build a small, calculator, right? With the help of the switch statement. So here you can see that enter the operator, and these are the operand. 6 into 5 is 30 will be the example, because this multiplication is doing A into B, right? And A or B are the operands which we have taken from the user, for which the user wants to apply the operator, right? Correct? Now, another set of program is write a menu driven program to calculate the area of different. So it is to calculate the area of different geometrical figures such as rectangle, square, circle, and triangle, right? So again, there is a choice for the user, so for which he want to create or he want to calculate the area, right? So the choices can be either rectangle, square, circle, and triangle. So switch statement is the perfect example for this. So how we'll do this? Again, think first what you want here. You want the dimension or the sides, right? And then the respective calculation will happen. Again, the choice would be either you can take the first word of this R, S, C means your expression, and T, and you prompt the user that select the choice R for calculating the area of the rectangle. So this would be the choice for that. You can prompt means print this. You can give user information that what he needs to input to calculate the area. So if he needs to calculate the area of a rectangle, he need to input the R, right? Same for square, same for circle, and same for triangle. And in each respective case, whatever is needed. So for calculating the area of a rectangle, right? So you need L and B, length and breadth, right? So you can ask user to input these values, right, in the respective case. So this is how we have to think about the modular program. So this is the exercise as an homework for you, so similar to the previous one, and then we will end up with this conditional statement in C. Thank you so much.